The matrix you don't notice. Have you ever had one of those days where you're technically awake, but you're living like you're on autopilot? You open your phone. A notification hits. Your mood shifts instantly. You walk into a room and feel tension before anyone even speaks. Someone texts K, and suddenly you're writing an entire tragic movie in your head. Here's the uncomfortable question. What if your reality isn't mostly shaped by what's happening, but by a hidden system inside you running underneath your awareness? Not in a sci-fi, robots in a walls way. In a psychological way. Socrates once said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." In Plato's Apology, he's basically saying, if you never question what's driving you, you're not fully alive. You're just being run. And that's what this episode is about. Beyond the Matrix, the subconscious architectures that quietly design your experience of reality. Reality is filtered, not delivered. Let's start simple. Your brain does not give you raw reality. It gives you a version of reality. Immanuel Kant put it like this: thoughts without content are empty. Intuitions without concepts are blind. In normal human language, you don't just see the world, you interpret it through mental categories. Your mind is constantly labeling, sorting, predicting. That means two people can live through the same event and experience two completely different realities. Example, you walk into a party. Person A thinks, this is fun. Person B thinks, they're judging me. Same party, different matrix. And here's where Stoicism punches you in the face in a helpful way. Epictetus wrote, "Men are disturbed, not by things, but by the principles and notions which they form concerning things." Meaning, it's not the event that wrecks you, it's the story you attach to it. So the first hidden architecture is this: your interpretations become your environment. The subconscious is the invisible architect. Now we go deeper. Freud famously challenged the idea that we're fully in control. The Freud Museum summarizes it with this line: the ego is not master in its own house. Most of mental life is unconscious. Translation: you're not the CEO of your own mind. You're more like the spokesperson. Your mouth explains decisions that were made in the basement. And Jung takes this even further with a quote that fits this episode like a glove. Psychological rule says that when an inner situation is not made conscious, it happens outside, as fate. That's terrifying and freeing. Terrifying because it means your luck, your repeated relationship patterns, your self-sabotage might not be random. Freeing because it means if you can see the pattern, you can change it. Think about it. If you believe deep down that you're not enough, you will interpret neutral things as rejection. You'll select proof. You'll ignore kindness. You'll accidentally build a world that confirms the belief. That's the matrix. Not external, internal. The everyday traps, fear, imagination, and the abyss. Seneca nails the daily experience of this perfectly. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Notice the word often. Not always, but often enough to ruin a life. How many arguments have you had in your head that never happened? How many disasters did you rehearse that never arrived? How many times did you lose a day to a future that didn't exist? And then there's Nietzsche, who warns about what happens when you obsess over darkness. And if you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you. If you keep staring at betrayal, you start seeing enemies everywhere. If you keep staring at failure, you start living like it's inevitable. If you keep staring at doom, your nervous system becomes doom. This is why doom scrolling isn't just a habit, it's programming. Breaking the spell, meaning, choice, and the inner camera angle. So how do you step outside the matrix? Viktor Frankl, who survived concentration camps, wrote something that is almost too powerful to be real. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. That's not motivational fluff. That's a survival-level idea. It means, even when you can't control the situation, you can still control your stance toward it. So here are 3 practical reality hacks that don't require crystals, conspiracy theories, or pretending life is perfect. 1. Name the lens when you feel a strong emotion. Ask, what story am I telling right now? What am I assuming? What else could be true? This is basically philosophy is debugging. 2. Catch the repeating pattern. If the same kind of pain keeps showing up, same relationships, same conflicts, same self-sabotage, don't ask, why does this keep happening to me? Ask, what part of me is recreating something familiar? That's Jung's point. If it's unconscious, it will look like fate. 3. Build a new interpretation on purpose. Your brain is a meaning machine. If you don't choose your meaning, you'll inherit it from childhood, culture, fear, the internet. A lot of modern therapy is basically teaching you to rewrite the inner script you treat as reality. Beyond the matrix is you. So let's land this. The matrix isn't just out there. It's the invisible architecture of assumptions, interpretations, fears, and old emotional programs running inside you. And the way out isn't dramatic. It's not a single awakening. It's daily, almost boring work. Noticing your lens, questioning your story, and choosing your attitude on purpose. Because once you see the code, you stop calling it fate. If this hit you somewhere real, subscribe, because we're going to keep pulling practical psychology and philosophy out of the clouds and into everyday life. And in the comments, what's one mental pattern you've noticed that keeps shaping your reality? Let me give you a quick test. Think about the last time you felt randomly anxious, like something was off, but you couldn't explain it. Nothing bad was happening. Yet your body acted like danger was nearby. That's the hidden architecture at work. Your subconscious doesn't speak in sentences. It speaks in sensations. Tight chest, racing thoughts, the urge to escape, the urge to prove yourself. And here's the wild part. Once your nervous system decides a story is true, your mind goes hunting for evidence. So the question isn't just what is real. It's, what am I filtering out? And why?